All right, with the 2022 midterm elections now 2 days behind us, among the main takeaways is just how divided we are as a nation. As Christians, we need to recognize that there will be more tough battles ahead in every election. Every vote will count. As we make sense of this week's outcome, what else can we learn? And when and if the Republicans gain control of the House, we don't know what the margins will be, but what roadblocks might be ahead for them, and what might they be able to do to keep the Biden administration's leftist agenda in check? Joining me now to discuss this is Congressman Greg Pence. He serves on the House Energy and Commerce Committee. He represents the 6th Congressional District of Indiana, and he is a veteran in the United States Marine Corps. Congressman Pence, welcome to Washington Watch and Semper Fi.
Semper Fi. Thanks for having me, Tony. So did I hear you say happy birthday, fellow Marine?
That is right. Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. I've been celebrating the birthday all day today in Veterans Drug Court, which was a real honor for me.
Well, let's talk about this. We've had a little bit of time for the elections to sink in. We're still tracking the numbers in terms of where the balance of the House is going to be, but it looks pretty certain it's just a matter of the margins that the Republicans will be in control of the House. But I think one of the messages coming away from this election is undeniable. I mean, now we've had a split 50-50 Senate. You know, we've had a House that's narrowly divided. We are a divided nation.
Well, we are, but I think we can do something about that going forward. One is a little bit how we behave going forward. The way that I have been treated in the minority for the last 4 years is hopefully not the way that we treat the other side. I'm looking forward to us getting about the business of Congress, passing bills, reducing regulations, which I think is how we fight inflation. And I hope that the oversight that we do isn't a repeat of the witch hunts that we've seen the Democrats do since President Trump was elected.
So do you think that there will be a more open process where we'll actually have debate over legislation and there'll be more votes? Because what we've seen under Nancy Pelosi as Speaker, essentially, as you said, the minority party, the Republicans, have been shut out from the process.
Yeah, Tony, that's one of the major things we're going to do differently. Kevin McCarthy said that when we take back the House and when he's the Speaker, and he will be the Speaker after we are taking the House, that we will go back to what's called regular order. And for the viewers and listeners that aren't familiar with that, we would literally go introduce bills in subcommittees, debate it, mark it up, add amendments, send it up to the committee, debate it, mark it up, and send it onto the floor for debate and final passage. And that's the way we should do it, so that we can have all the experts that we bring in each committee setting. And even from the other side, there are people on the other side that have some expertise in certain areas. And that regular order will be how we will do things the proper way and do the work of the people, instead of what I and even my Democratic peers experienced, even more so this year, was just top down. Here's a bill. One night, I got a bill, my phone dinged me, and it went off at 3:05 in the morning, and we had a 2,456 page bill that the vote was scheduled for the next day at 10:30. We were able to push it off to 6:30, but Tony, no one read that bill. And even my peers on the other side of the aisle didn't know what was in it.
Well, and Congressman, what you're describing there is also the way you build consensus. When everybody has a part to play, and I go back to my days in the state legislature, and that was the collaborative process. It wasn't always everything you wanted on the other end of it, but everybody had a part to play in it, and quite frankly, a lot of times it turned out better because, as you said, you had different expertise, people with different expertise weighing in on it. But I think more importantly than even a fine-tuned bill is preserving our republic, which is a process by where everybody has a part to play. And when one part feels shut out, silenced, that's a recipe for trouble.
Well, Tony, and yeah, you're absolutely right. And in the broader picture of regular order having been thrown out, there's also little things. I'm one of only 12, maybe, congressmen and or women that actually showed up and every proxy voted. And when you talk about building consensus, whether it's in committee or on the floor or meeting with the peers on your side and the other side, you got to show up for work first. And
Right.
I have made every committee meeting in person, unless I took my wife for surgery. But I showed up in person all during COVID and during the pandemic. And the rules that we have right now under Nancy Pelosi, you don't have to show up. You can proxy vote. And that's if you have COVID, dealing with COVID, or have been exposed with COVID. But that got thrown out. You have to sign an affidavit, but people aren't doing that. They're just not showing up for work. And that adds to the divisiveness. You can't get to know people if you're not around people.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Because you tend to treat people with a little more civility when you know them. And that's, again, I go back to my days in the legislature when Steve Scalise and I were elected at the same time and served in Louisiana, and we were in the deep minority as Republicans, but we worked very well with our Democratic colleagues because we knew each other and we shaped that legislation together. So the process as leadership is going to be elected possibly next week. We don't know as we see we're waiting for all the votes to be counted. But what you're talking about are the rules that govern the way the House operates. Is that going to be at the forefront of the discussion of the election of leadership?
Well, that will be on Monday when we get out there. We're going to have the leadership presentations, those that want to run for leadership office in the Republican conference. And then in the evening, and then the next day, those that want to change some of the rules, the way that the conference operates, which then would inure to the floor operation as well. You'll be introducing and debating those, and then we'll be voting on those on Tuesday, Wednesday, and some other things on Friday. So really, next week's the organizational week, and you bring up a great point, Tony. Who's going to be involved? How many seats will we have? How many members will we have? And this dragging on, I sure hope, I'm in Indiana, in the state of Indiana, we had everything counted by, I think, midnight or certainly Wednesday morning. It's a real shame what's happening in so many other states. I think the last count I had about an hour and a half ago is we didn't have 39 representatives identified yet. It's almost 10%, 8%.
Yeah, I'm out in California, and there's still several seats undecided here. I think last I heard they were taking their shoes off to use their toes to count with. I'm not sure, but maybe that was rumor. Greg, great to see you.